this is Gresh from CB Nation and Blue 16 Media, and I have a great CEO hack for you. A CEO hack is basically an app, a book, or even a habit that you have, but something that can make you more effective and efficient. And this hack is going to be around how to create and build a podcast website. Now, before we jump into exactly how to create this podcast website, I think it's first and foremost very important to talk about why it's even important to have a podcast website. In this day and age where you can use social media, you can use even the quick landing pages to be able to draw people to some of the things that are on your site, I think the podcast website is something that's undervalued and can be really impactful to be able to submit, and I think have a really good foundation for your overall marketing and branding for your podcast, but also for your company if you have one within your company. Number one reason to have a podcast website is that it ends up becoming like a hub. Think pretty much if you had all these different social media sites. You had TikTok, you had an Instagram, you had a LinkedIn, you had an ebook that you were launching, you had a shop of things that you wanted to buy, you had products and services, you wanted to set people up for discovery calls, all of these different things. How do you kind of organize that in a systematic way so that people can find what you want them to find as quickly as possible? That's really where I think the podcast website shines, because it allows that opportunity for people to be able to go to listen to the podcast, but they can also connect with you on social media. After that, they can find out about your product or services. So the whole entire idea of a podcast website, what I really think is done well, allows you that opportunity to know everything about that brand or that organization all in one place. And when you don't have to go from different sites to different sites, and you don't have to click to different places, where anytime you have to do an extra click or take an extra step, it's going to reduce the likelihood that somebody's going to take that action. It's so important to have it all in one place under one umbrella. So I think that's the number one reason that you want to have a podcast website. After that, it's going to give you a lot of legitimacy. As a brand or an organization, if you look at the amount of people that don't have, websites, that don't have their podcasts embedded on their websites, they don't have it easy for people to find them. For one, it reduces the legitimacy, I think, of the website to be able to have that added benefit and that added connection and how people can engage with you in many different ways. But I also think anytime you go a step further, it's never crowded along the extra mile, is a saying. You find that less and less people are doing that. So a podcast website can allow you that opportunity to give you legitimacy, but on an even deeper level, a lot of these social media platforms, a lot of these ways that you can promote your business, you don't necessarily own completely. With this podcast website, you'll be able to kind of build out that website in a unique way as much as possible so that you can fulfill any of the goals and aspirations that you have. It is an own website, so you have a lot more control, you have a lot more freedom, but keep in mind that these social media platforms, often even newsletters to some degree, you don't have full control over everything. If you decide that you want to recreate and rebuild your website, you could do that, but you're not recreating TikTok, you're not recreating Instagram, you're not recreating any of these different platforms. So the last and third reason I think that it's most important for you to have a podcast website is for SEO benefits. SEO stands for search engine optimization. If you understand what search engine optimization is, think that you're searching for something online and you find it right when you go to search engines and search for it, it pops up the exact answer to whatever question that you have. As a podcaster, especially if you're using it to try to cement your brand or try to provide some type of solution to clients and customers, you want to make sure that your podcast episodes and your podcast as a whole is readily accessible. I don't know if you've ever done a search for a specific search. Often, a Instagram post doesn't come up when you're looking for a specific type of podcast. Sometimes if the podcast is named that way, the brand Instagram might come up or the brand social media, but often what you want people to do is not just find your specific brand or your podcast, you want them to find the exact episode. So you're going to be able to optimize each of the different posts so that it does rank well and it makes it more likely that people are going to search and find. If you think that you're creating something around a specific topic, or a specific category, you want to make sure that you're optimizing your site as a whole, but definitely the pages and posts on your site as well for that. So that's one of the most underrated reasons to even have a website, and especially the reason that you want to have a podcast website. So with that being said, we're going to go a little bit more into how exactly to create that podcast website. So, as I mentioned, this is a CEO hack that you really want to know about because it's going to make you more effective and efficient. So, anytime you go to CEOhack.co, it's going to take you to this landing page, and you're going to be able to simply go through and look at podcasts. This is a category of all different types of podcast hacks that you can kind of check out. And because I have a very specific one that I want to show you, I'm going to categorize it and change it according to the business name. And I'm going to go and actually find what's called, let's see, podcast page. So you click this link, you're taken directly there, and that's going to bring you to podcast page. And from there, what I'm going to do is actually sign into the account. So depending on what your login information is, you're going to be have the opportunity to sign into the account. So if it's your first time logging in, you simply click create your website, and that's going to allow you to log in. Now, because I already have a website, I'm going to actually log in through the website that I have. After you do the login, you're going to be brought to the page. And because we already have a podcast site that I really want to recreate just to show you exactly how easy this is, we have a site called CEO Podcast, which has a compilation of all the different podcasts that we have, the CEO Chat Podcast, I Am CEO Podcast, videos that we're posting as well too. So I want you to basically think about whatever podcast you already have that you want to create. So I'm going to put in CEO Podcast, which is the podcast name. I'm going to click continue. And then it's going to try to do its work. So I'm going to have to find my podcast because the podcast has already been created. Potentially you use something like Anchor, use something like Blueberry, or in many other podcast hosts. You're going to just type it in and see if we can find it. And it looks like I found it right here. So that's CEO Podcast. And what I'm going to do is click import podcast. You can also click to paste your RSS feed. So when you go to your podcast host, it's going to give you an RSS feed. That's the RSS feed you're going to put into here. So you would click that and put in your RSS feed, but see, it already finds the RSS feed. So I'm going to go to import podcast. And that's basically it. So from there, you're going to be able to look into different themes that you want to create and use for the podcast. There's a lot of different options. So I'm going to, I like the minimalist type of theme, but I do enjoy having featured episodes. So there's lots of different templates that you could choose. There's, the opportunity, of course, to change. I really like this podcast. It has multiple shows, so that's more of a network. So that might be something good for this podcast, just because we have different feeds. So I might go with this. So I'm going to select this theme. And just like that, your website's ready. So what you'll see through here is that it gives you the opportunity to go through and learn a little bit more on how to update the podcast, how to make any changes, anything from that standpoint. And I'm going to show you a little bit more information on how exactly to do that. You also see that pops up if you're looking for any tips or information, how to get your website started even faster. You can click through there. But I'm going to click away both of those and allow you the opportunity to kind of go through those tutorials if you want to. And I'm going to take you through some of the different options that we have. So through here, you're going to be able to decide what site logo you want. So I know the site logo that I have. I'm just going to save this to my desktop and make it a little bit easier to access. And we're going to go to the desktop and we're going to find that here. So that's going to be there. We're not going to change any of the themes, but you can go through and use different backgrounds. So I like the white background overall. You can select different text. So I'm going to use Open Sans. The main font size you can make a lot bigger if you want to. We'll keep it there. Your body, the body font weight, if you want it to be a little bit bolder, you could do that. And I like the 400, it's a little bit more in the middle. But here's the thing that I want to change a little bit. I like the font color, even though I want to make it a little bit darker. So I want to make it full black. So I'm going to change that to black. And the accent color, I actually want to change to what's being used for the site. So I'm going to use another little SEO hack, and I'm going to pull the actual hex number so that I can use this. So let's put that here, copy and paste that in. It's going to match that. And then the hover color, I want to use the green. That's here. Let's see if I can pick that up. There we go. And that's going to accent that. You can decide if you want to show the Powered by Pod page, and you're going to be able to go through all these different options and do that. One of the things that I like to do is have the scroll to the top. You can have the option to send a voice message, any animated page loader, podcast image ratio, lots of different options that you can do here. But at the end of the day, what you want to make sure to do is to save. From there, I'm going to X out. We're going to go back to customization. And you're going to be able to change a lot of different things. The header, footer. You can decide what navigation options you want to have that are here too. You can have a subscribe link. You can put social media icons like I mentioned before if you want to have people go through and follow you and engage with you as one of the reasons to have the podcast. You can remove any type of top header that you have. When you decide to edit the top header, you can decide to put any content here. This is going to be pretty much like a text editor. I think we're on episode number 1703. So I'm going to use 1703. Let's see. CEO runs a tech-enabled real estate brokerage. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to say 1703. Founder runs tech-enabled real estate brokerage. And from there, I just might decide that I want to hyperlink this specific episode. So I'm going to find out exactly where it is. I want the exact link. So I'm going to go to the site. I'm going to check out the blog and see if I can find that exact episode, which should also be right here. There we go. I'm going to hyperlink this. So this is going to be pretty much like a text editor. A lot of this is going to be fairly simple to use. We're going to insert link, and we're going to put the link in there, and then hit save, and there we go. So that's going to be a hyperlink. And so somebody's going to be able to click right there, and they'll be able to check that out. So let's save that. And you could go through and do many other things in the header, footer. Like I mentioned, you could check out the footer layout and do any updates and anything there too. Click edit the footer. So there's lots of different updates and information that you can tweak throughout this entire episode. But the biggest thing to keep in mind is that all the episodes are already embedded directly on the site, which is pretty awesome. This allows people to be able to go search and find exactly what they're looking for. So I think that's pretty cool and pretty awesome because it just makes it super simple for you to be able to take the next step. So you can do many things. You can have a player that runs throughout the player. You can use it to embed players. So I like the idea of having an embedded player that's going to run throughout. Um, you might decide that you want to do audio sound waves and have that play throughout each of the different episodes. So you could do that.
They used to say,
so
go
many different
west.
things that you could do.
What they meant was go forward. Find your own way.
And you could play any of these options. So you could do that for the audio player, the podcast header. You could have a background image, podcast display. You could show the image. There's really, so many things that you could do. And I don't want to spend as much time, going through each of these. But let's click through to the episodes. You can see the different episodes that are right here. Automatically loaded. You don't have to do anything more. If you want to click through and have one of these episodes play, you just click the button. And
so we use our own experience and passion for helping others come up and
you could go through and change any of the episode, pages. You could do posts. You could have blogs. You could create a header for each of these. So you could drop and drag whatever image for the headers on each of the pages that you want to do, too. So that makes it very simple to be able to make any, changes to different pages. So if I want to save all, and then I want to go through and edit page, you're going to go to what's a drop and drag builder. So if there's an image that you want to use, you want to link that image, you could use it here. But you'll literally be able to go through and just decide, what image you want to use or what image you don't want to use and have it there. So let's say I want to put an image there. Let's just add that there. You can select that. You can delete it here. So you can take any, steps that you want to take for, each of the options. Let's see, you have the different layouts. So it's fairly easy to kind of hover over and know exactly what you want to do. If you want to have more images, change the text, there's a range of different options, and I'll probably do a longer video that goes a little bit more into those options just to kind of show you the range and how to do certain things too. Everything from embedding videos to having reviews, voice messages. Like, it really runs the gamut with everything that you could have on this site. So let's close that. And then that's going to be, one of the biggest things that you could do. So if you decide that you do want to create more pages, you'll go through to this and you can either click this button to create a new page. You can potentially duplicate the page if you like the layout already. I'm going to click a new page. It's going to give you somewhat of a page option. And I'm going to say test page. It's going to update right there. I'm going to click over. I want to see that I have an image at the top. I haven't added any images, so I'm going to add that image there. And if I want to have it a little bit more center justified, so I'm going to move it there. You can literally just go through this and say this is a test page to show you how to this site. And after I'm done, I'm just going to publish it. One other cool thing is that you can check and see how the page is going to look on different sites too. So let's just publish it there. And that's basically it. So especially if you're using, certain ways to build the site, it's going to be really simple to be able to create forms, update content and information, create pages, and do all of those things. So definitely, take it for a spin. If you want to, you can always go through to see the site. You see how it has the bars there, which I think is pretty cool. But it'll allow you lots of opportunity to be able to kind of tweak, the pages and be able to set that up in the way that you want, and should be able to do it really, really simple. I would recommend too, if you really want to do this quicker than any other site, one of the things that I would recommend doing is, I'm going to go back and let's go to customization. I'm going to change the theme to one of the minimalist themes. Let's preview how that's going to look. And you see, it's a lot simpler than it could be. So I think a lot of times you want to get up and going really simple, then you could definitely leverage something like that. But that's what I would, take some time to do. After you do that, it's going to give you a step-by-step guide. You add Google Analytics so you could track, who's coming to your site, how often they're spending time. You look at Twitter, MailChimp if you're using it, all these different CEO hacks that you can leverage too, to take full advantage. So you start to integrate it with all the different options. And then if you want to, you can connect your domain. You could use, and it gives you recommendations on what domain you can use. Right now, it gives you like a subdomain that you can kind of check out, or you can test out before you go. You have the option of doing SEO, like I mentioned before, your title tag, your meta description on the pages of the site, again, so you can attract people to come to the site. One of the other things that I like that I think is really cool is that you could go through and look at what you have within the pages of the website too. So if I go to your page settings, you're going to be able to do a title tag meta description on each of the pages of the website too, which I think is also very important. So you want to make sure that you do have that opportunity to kind of customize, so that different pages of the website will show different options. So let's see, if we go through and edit this, you can go through and also edit the podcast image. You could do different edits as far as tags on the different episodes. Talk about the participants. If you want to use Headliner and connect it automatically, which is another CEO hack, you could do that too. Add the transcription. So there's really lots of opportunity. If you have a video that you want to embed, you could do that for the different players. So it really gives you a lot of opportunity to be able to leverage and optimize each of these. But what I really want to talk about, especially around the SEO piece, is I showed you the overall site. I showed you the different pages, how you can optimize the SEO. You also have the opportunity to optimize the title tag and description on the individual episodes. And that's going to be huge, because what it allows you to do is to really build out lots of information, and optimize each pages. It makes your site more sticky, because people could be looking for a very specific episode. If somebody's looking for a tech-enabled real estate brokerage, they could come directly to this episode rather than coming to the entire site, because the site's not going to be fully optimized for that, because that's just one episode. That was a guest that we had on the show. So it's so important. I wanted to give you a little bit more of a run of podcast page, how it works, some of the bells and whistles that you have here. You can always set up and create like this free trial and take advantage of this. But the big thing that I want you to just try to keep in mind is that this provides a really great opportunity for you to be able to maximize the impact of the work that you're doing, and to be able to get organic reach. It provides you legitimacy, and of course you have a way that you can put all the links that you want within one site as well too. So this is Gresh signing out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully we can be of any help if you have any questions.